Well, as we head into the 2016 election, it's fair to say that things, well, they've changed a little bit since the days of Willie Horton when he represented the greatest fairs of America, ex-felons running loose in society. In fact, maybe the pendulum has swung so far in the other direction, because I can tell you right now, take a look at this. It's a survey. It's one survey by one entity that says 60% of the public believes the unequal treatment of people who have served prison time is a serious problem for America. Although a Harris poll last September still points to the admiration for police officers, they rank pretty high. I mean, they're higher than clergy, higher than architects, higher than athletes. It does feel like more and more every single day that it's our police departments that are on trial. Now, part of the policing of police movement includes having all officers wear body cameras, a move, by the way, that does have universal support. Almost everyone thinks it's a good idea, but for different reasons. It's remarkable, but the law and order candidate may be a relic of the past, as the thinking on both sides of the aisle is leaning towards less law, suggesting that it will actually create less order, or more order if we have less law. Now, there are significant social and economic impacts associated with our large incarceration rates. We know that. And, of course, strict policies when it comes to sentencing. But is America ready to shift gears? And if so, at what cost? Let's bring in National Review reporter Katherine Timpf. She wrote a letter to Hillary Clinton asking about her about-face on crime and punishment. That was a cornerstone position that she and her husband had many years ago. And also asked about police cameras being used to monitor police in a way that suggested that police, Katherine, can't be trusted. Get a response yet?
No,
not yet.
I don't expect one either. I actually saw Bill kind of talking about it earlier. Why he's not running again, as far as I know, right? Why is she not talking about it? But yeah, I don't necessarily think that always wanting to keep any authority figure, be the police or anyone else, accountable with something like cameras or anything else, is necessarily means they're not to be trusted. I think that you should always kind of, be questioning people in authority. But coming from her, are you kidding me? The person who has been the least accountable of anything she's ever done, she won't turn in the emails she was supposed to turn in. She picked which ones, and she wants cops to have to wear body cameras. I mean, that takes guts to even dare to
there's
say
no doubt, and Scotty, you might be too young to remember, but you are something of a historian. A lot of people don't realize that 3 strikes are out was a Democratic thing, particularly in California where it started. The Corrections Officers Union was this tiny little thing. They built more prisons, got more power. Built more prisons, got more power. They built like 25 prisons in 25 years. They incarcerated more black and brown people for things that right now that they would scream bloody murder for. And now, to Catherine's point, can they turn on a dime? Is the public that unsuspecting?
Well, and at that time, I think that was one of the things, while it was controversial, it also resonated well, and he actually got a lot of popularity out of that. And that's why I think Bill Clinton's so popular now. This is just another example of her turning just to appeal to the group that she's trying to talk to. And unfortunately, I believe this is truly what she believed the whole entire time. And she had to literally, as wife, as first lady, she had to succumb to her husband. But now that she's the candidate herself, she's going to do everything she can to recruit that base.
She went out and spoke in favor of this. She didn't just de facto support it because it was her husband, and not even acknowledging that she did that. I feel like it looks like she's almost exploiting these people to try to get votes because, oh, hey, now reforming criminal justice is the popular thing to say, so I'm going to go with that now and just hope nobody will, notice.
She said that actually April 29th in a speech at Columbia. She alluded to the fact that we have less than 5% of the world's population, but as far as the prison population, we have over 25%. Yeah. So she's saying the exact opposite that she said, 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Supported openly.
Exactly. But here's what's really funny about this. She's coming out on immigration. She's finally taking a stance on saying that she's going to go farther than the president and his executive orders, and she actually wants to get rid of the detention facilities that are housing these illegal immigrants unless they're actually a sworn criminal. The mothers, the wives, or the mothers and the children, she wants to get rid of those detention facilities and just release them back into the general American public. So she's going easy on those kind of, the ones that are here illegally, but at the same time, she's also going easier on criminals themselves.
But I think the key to understanding Hillary is she's a pragmatic politician, and she will do and say whatever she thinks to need to get elected.
That's what I want to ask you.
Doesn't mean she'd be a bad president.
No, but that's what I want to ask you, Jim. So has the country changed so much that there's a sort of sympathy? I mean, we're hearing every day from a lot of different people, particularly when it comes to drug laws. There are a lot of people in jail. They sold $10 worth of weed, or they were smoking weed themselves. That we have some laws that are draconian. It feels like that tide has turned.
Well, I think this is a centrist country that always gravitates back towards the middle. The country wants law and order, and if you got a lot of increase in crime, you'd see them swing for more law and order and support for police. What they don't want to see is an African American getting shot in the back 6 times crimes by a cop for no reason. They don't want to see somebody bludgeoned to death in a police van.
But let's also, Hillary, the economics of this. We saw a tough-on-crime mayor, Rudy Giuliani, come in. We saw a tough-on-crime President Ronald Reagan. And there were some major periods of prosperities for the country and for the city afterwards.
That's right.
There's got to be a middle ground somewhere.
Well, there's a direct correlation. You know, when we clean up crime and we keep our streets safe and we have policing that's able to have the liberties to be able to enforce where they see it's necessary and not have to stick to these rules that are going to make police officers very passive. And this is where we're running into such a problem.
I hope they're not passive.
Well, they're going to be passive.
I think 99% are doing an amazing job, and I think these cameras are going to exonerate more than it finds guilty.
I agree. That's what I'm going to say. If we know they have these cameras, people who don't trust police officers know they have these cameras, they're going to maybe trust them even more because there won't be the chance to spread false narratives about things that happen because there'll be a way to find out right away.
All right, guys, let's leave it there. Katherine Timpf, thank you very much for joining us. Let us know if you get a response.
I'm still waiting.